Beautiful young Mansu was married off by her father to a landlord as old as her father in exchange for 11 acres of land and a horse. Mansu had no choice but to part ways with her first love, Harry. One day, driven by his longing for Mansu, Harry came to the landlord's house to see her. Unfortunately, the landlord returned home unexpectedly, but luckily, he didn't discover them. He simply went to the stable to lead out a horse and left. Upon learning that Harry had returned safely, Mansu smiled for the first time since her marriage. While the family was working in the fields, a postman delivered a letter. It turned out that the environment they lived in was fraught with tension. The disputes between Poles and Ukrainians were ongoing, and the war had flared up again. The invasion of the German forces further intensified these conflicts. The landlord also received a notice to go to the front line. With the Germans' support, the Ukrainians were gaining momentum, and the Jews in the village found themselves in grave danger. A Jewish widow, without a man to support her, was mercilessly executed by the Germans on her own land for her inability to donate food. Wealthy landlords like Mansu's husband were not spared either. The Germans not only confiscated the landlord's grain, but also seized his land and house. The landlord's family, driven out by the Germans, was taken aboard a train without any preparation, destined for the war zone the next day. When Harry heard that Mansu had been taken, he became extremely anxious. He stole a crate of beer from a German captain and bribed the guard escorting the prisoners. Just a second before the train was about to depart, Harry successfully rescued Mansu and her two stepchildren. By this time, Mansu was showing signs of pregnancy. Harry took her back to his home, and with the help of his mother, Mansu endured 5 hours of labor and gave birth to a healthy baby boy. However, a gunshot outside the house ended Harry's life. It turned out that the Germans had discovered Harry's beer theft, and in their eyes, a crate of beer was more valuable than a human life. Listening to Harry's mother's sobs, Mansu realized the gravity of the situation and silently shed tears. Homeless and with 3 young children to care for, Mansu took odd jobs to make ends meet. Later, with the help of a worker who had a crush on her, they found a shelter, raised some poultry and pigs, and barely managed to survive. Despite the hardships, she didn't want her husband to return and disrupt their lives. However, 6 months later, the landlord safely returned to the village. The situation was more complicated now. With most of the German forces withdrawn from the village, they were able to reclaim their house, but it was now empty, stripped bare by the Germans. They had to use their hard-working hands once again to rebuild their home. As Mansu was painting the walls, the German forces launched another large-scale invasion. The village head was groveling before the German captain. This time, the Germans had a mission to persecute 40 million Jews within their territory. Suffering had once again descended upon